Hello there everyone, Nita Rose here and welcome to my channel. This is the review video of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, Volume 18, starting off with Chapter 156 titled Brian and ending it with Chapter 162 titled Reunion. Now originally it was supposed to be started with the two fillers according to the Fairy Tail Wiki, but I decided to cover those two in the last video because for one thing, the Fairy Tail Wiki takes forever to upload the list of chapters with each volume, even after the release of the volume. And because of that, I got impatient and decided to add the two fillers in my last video. I think it worked out better for this because this chapter is the starting point of the new arc, and I'll gladly start with this one. Here at the ship port, we see Jalal willing to return to Ishgard as he is not a member of their guild. Yet. Natsu is wondering why didn't he just leave with Sabretooth, but the others know that Jalal just wanted to spend more time with Urza, so they decide to leave him alone. I also love the fact that Natsu is oblivious to all this. When you see Lucy pushing him while asking what they need to say to each other is good comedy right there. Now that the two are alone, Urza wanted to thank him for his help, while Jalal is asking Urza to come back home safely. He also asked her to put in a good word for him when she returns to the guild. This made Urza realize that Jalal wants to join the guild and becomes so excited for him and welcomes him with a huge hug, and then the two get flustered. And at this point, I just want to say, just hook up already. Urza made a promise to Jalal that she will come home safely. Meanwhile, within the salon, Natsu and the others are trying to get information about the Fire God Castle from the bartender, but he says he's never heard of it. Then, we get one of the funniest moments in this chapter. The guy asked if Wendy was Lucy and Natsu's child. Of course, we see Lucy freaking out, and Natsu give out a straight face saying, "Hey dude, this can't be our child because she's got different hair colors than us." Then, Natsu asks Lucy what hair color their kids would have. My god, I straight up laughed at all this. But then Gray talks about Nashi, who is their Edelus child, and then Lucy backfires at him and tells about his Edelus child with Juvia. And I'll say again, this is good comedy. Okay, now getting back to the seriousness, Carla asks if there are guilds around, and then we get an answer from this guy. The bartender called out his name, Brian, as the man said he was hungry. He approached Happy and Carla with the thought of an appetite, but then Natsu gets up in his face and demands an apology. The bartender tries to warn Natsu about Brian, but he said it's fine and he shouldn't have said that. But then, Brian's hand made a mouth and is about to devour Happy and Carla, but Natsu stopped him with his flaming punch. The people around him started to freak out to what Natsu did, thinking he has a death wish. But Brian ends up absorbing the flames, gets back up with no scratch on him, and thanks Natsu for the grub. The group was shocked as to what happened, and Wendy noticed it's some kind of ability that absorbs other people's magic. And Brian decided to take his leave. Natsu wants to stop him, but the bartender tells him not to mess with him as he's a member of a dark guild called Fire and Flames, and how horrendous it can be. So it looks to me that we got another member of that dark guild, Fire and Flames, which is the same guild that the two sisters have mentioned from the last arc. Well, let us see where this takes us. Now we see Natsu being pissed off and going after the guy. Then Gray knows that the bartender mentioned a guild's name, Fire and Flames, which is the same name that the sisters have mentioned before. The bartender decided to come clean and talk about the guild and that all the members are fire wizards. He also states that the Fire God Castle is their headquarters and that Ignia is their guild master, which surprised the crew. Later we see Ignia sitting on his throne as the two sisters return to him and apologize for their absence as they were captured by the Gold Dragon God. He is now aware of the deaths of all the dragon gods that were defeated, and then he asks the sisters if they met Natsu yet, but they have little memories of him. He starts to become aware of their defeats one by one, but in the end he is willing to be victorious. And then he mentions the reason why the labyrinth was built as part of the plan to burn away the continent Galtina. Natsu managed to catch up to Brian, then realized that Natsu is a fire wizard and asked him if he can join his guild, but Natsu refuses and the two start to get into a fight. While fighting him, he noticed that Natsu is the Fire Dragon Slayer and that the person that Ignia has mentioned to him. And Natsu was shocked to hear under his name. Brian was instructed to bring Natsu back to Enya if he ever ran into him, and Natsu agrees to go with him after he talks to Lucy and the others first. But then he smelled something was off. He turned around to see the entire town has disappeared. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to the town? What will Natsu do in the next chapter? Actually, Natsu noticed that nothing was burned, and it turns out to be an illusion created by another member of the Fire and Flames. Who is this weirdo here? Wait, how can fire make illusions? Maybe there's more to this element than just burning things. Natsu get into a spar with both of them and seems to get the upper hand as another member comes and block Natsu's attack. The flames from this guy seem to be similar to Gray's Ice Maker magic. Natsu can't seem to eat these flames and becomes trapped within the wall of fire and then get captured by Brian. They're taking Natsu back to the Fire God Castle, and one of the members was ordered to take care of Natsu's friends except for Urza, because the second in command wants to have a personal clash against her. So this guy wants to fight Urza because of her reputation from Ishgard. He introduced himself as Wed, the strongest swordsmaster in Galtina, and he wants to challenge Urza to see who is the best. Urza didn't want to accept the challenge as she's not really into who's being the strongest, but if anyone points a sword at her, she will not back down. The two got into a pretty good battle as Urza equipped into her Flame Empress armor. Meanwhile, back at the bar, Gray and Lucy are trying to get the bartender to tell them the location of the castle. But Wendy smells fire and runs outside, only to see that she's now in a forest, and then ends up seeing this guy. And I'm sure some Rave Master fans recognize this creature. Now Lucy is lost as well and realizing she's up in the air, and also ends up with this creature, who again, I'm sure you Rave Master fans know who this is. It turns out that they're all trapped in an illusion created by Raji from the last chapter, and now Gray is inside a frozen demon world with this guy from Dead Rock. Yeah, I read the Dead Rock manga, and I have to say, it wasn't that bad, but I can see that the creator added characters from the other mangas that he drew. Now the only thing left is seeing a character from Eden Zero. Oh, never mind, because the guy casting the illusion gets defeated in the next chapter. So much for him, I guess. But before we get to that, we see a little battle between Gray and the guy from Dead Rock. Yeah, I forgot his name. We also see Wendy dealing with the flower guy here and Lucy dealing with Griff. As all three of them are stuck in any illusion, Carla and Happy see the flames outside the doors as they can't leave. And the bartender informs them that it's the illusion of Raj. It is his illusion created by flames and will eventually burn him alive if they don't catch on that it is an illusion. So Happy and Carla need to find a way to help him out. They get out through the back door and find Raj sitting on the roof, while within the illusion, Gray and Lucy felt the heat from surrounding areas where there's no fire. Carla and Happy kicked Raj from behind, freeing Lucy, Gray, and Wendy from the illusion, and Gray finished him off with a new technique that he learned from the guy from the illusion. And then he ends up losing his clothes along with the two girls as their clothes got burned off. I also like the fact that Natsu was out of the picture for a while, because in the last arc, he was the one pretty much doing all the fighting. So it is nice to see the other characters take some screen time for a while, and seeing Gray get some battle against someone is also nice to see too, considering that he's the one who got the least number of fight scenes in this sequel. Now that Raj is down, Happy and Carla mentioned that he's from the guild Fire and Flames, and Lucy got the idea that they all use fire magic, which got her thinking about having Aquarius. Oh yeah, since this is supposedly the last arc, it is a possibility that Lucy can get the key within this arc, and I'm still curious about how and when. Anyways, they saw an explosion from the harbor and ran to check it out. And then Raj wakes up and becomes interested in what happened. And then we get back to Urza and Wed's fight. Urza equipped into her strongest armor that she claimed, but it wasn't enough as Wed suggests that her strongest one is when she's bare. This got Urza thinking about her seductive outfit. But Wed was talking about her hakama, which is this. It does make sense if you think about it. I've seen her in this outfit more times than any others. It is discovered that Wed has been studying her fights, and then we see this little happy on fire creature named Misfortune comes and tells Wed to come back to the castle. Once Wed learned the reason why, he wasn't done with Urza yet, and he wanted to finish the score with her before whatever happens. Now back at the castle, Brian brought Natsu to Ignia as requested. Once there, Natsu wanted to teach the two a lesson, but then he noticed Ignia as he was welcomed. Ignia wanted Natsu to join his side in what he likes to call the true Dragon King Festival and to kill all humans. Those words angered Natsu and attacked Ignia head on, but Ignia didn't flinch as he realized that Natsu is one of the humans that he must destroy. Natsu started to question if Ignia really is Ignia's son, as he claims that Ignia was a dragon that loved humans. But Ignia used his flames to push back Natsu and pretty much told him that just because his dad liked humans doesn't mean he likes them. Yeah, that is a realistic statement. Just because a parent likes one thing doesn't mean their child's gonna like it. It's just to show that everyone has their different likes and dislikes. After pushing Natsu back, Ignia reminded him about his plan of the real Dragon King Festival, and the humans with him are willing to enter the dragon world. But then all of a sudden, a beam of black light came down and a dark figure approaches to everyone's surprise, including Ignia. Then Urza finds out about the real Dragon King Festival from Wed. But then Miss Fortune noticed that the beam of light was coming from the Fire Dragon Castle, thinking it has begun, but then she realized that wasn't the case. Then Gray, Lucy, Wendy, Happy, and Carla came along and found Urza. But then Happy saw Miss Fortune and he instantly started crushing on her. Wow, what a little player. First Carla, then Toka, and now Miss Fortune? The little guy likes to get around, doesn't he? But Miss Fortune seemed to take a liking to Happy right away. But then her and Wed had to return to the castle, and Wed told Urza that they will meet again, as Gray suggests that they should follow them. Now back at the castle, we see the dark figure speaking about the Dragon King Festival and told the Fire Dragon God that they're missing something important, which is the Black Wizard, who she claims herself to be after revealing herself as the Black Wizard Ferris. Natsu was shocked to see an image of Ferris, and Ignia had the feeling of acnologia from her. Now this chapter got the ball rolling, because once this new character Dark Ferris appeared, things started to get interesting. First there was the White Wizard, now we have the Black Wizard, the same appearance as Ferris from Elentier. I wonder how this is going to play out. Well then everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can also check out my Patreon, TikTok, Discord, and Twitter, and I'll see y'all next time. Nita Rose out.